Thank you for inspiring insights this morning, but we're not quite done. We've invited a leader from a company that you and Drive Capital helped fund to join in today's conversation. With that said, we'd like to welcome to the stage and introduce Alex Frohmeyer, also known as Fro. Fro is the founder and CEO of Beam Dental, an innovative dental insurance company headquartered here in Central Ohio. To learn more, I urge you to listen to our CBuzz podcast featuring Fro. He has his own dynamic story. Please join me in welcoming Fro to the stage.
I gotta admit, this guy's very, very courageous. We're the ones that funded his company, so I'm curious to see what these questions are.
This is a risky endeavor here. So first, I thought your talk was awesome.
Of course you did.
Of course. I'm highly incentivized to say that.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know if you created more entrepreneurs or more racing enthusiasts, so the footage is great. So I think one of the things, so we've got a few minutes to chat, so I want to kind of piggyback off of a lot of the things you talked about. One thing that I thought was awesome, so Drive Capital's all over the Midwest, got companies, Pittsburgh, Chicago, here, Cincinnati. Where's Columbus at on the Midwest scale? Kind of to the complacency theme. And then how do we look nationally? How does Columbus not only compete head-to-head with Boston and Denver, but also what does it look like in the Midwest today?
Well, I actually think it's very well situated. You've seen a lot of the surveys come out. And a great place, top communities to live in, cost of living index, all those kinds of things. I mean, it's a great place. But the reason why I want to talk about risk today, we're finding it's not the best entrepreneurial culture because of a lot of things I talked about. And quite frankly, the entrepreneurial culture is stronger in Chicago, it's stronger in Pittsburgh, it's stronger in Indianapolis. It's a great place to build a company, like we moved you from Louisville here to Columbus, because this is a great place to build a company. But we're not seeing the real entrepreneurial fervor that we're seeing in some of the other cities. Other than that, I truly do believe this is one of the, if not the best place to build a company.
So does that to you come down to an attitude? Is it a culture and attitude before it's about talent or other factors?
It's not about talent, it's not about education, it's not about capability, it's not about anything. There is a bit of a culture that, like I said, if you fail, it's a scarlet letter, okay? We need to celebrate failure. In fact, Don, I think we should have the best failures of Columbus Award. Because if we don't have that'd be a big old, we should get, you failed the best. I won the best rec award in a year, so, I got a big trophy. I didn't win the series, but I did win best rec. So we should really celebrate that.
Agreed. So another theme, natural resources.
Yep.
Columbus has a huge student population, a ton of talented people here. Capital, Drive Capital, NCT Ventures, a handful of other early stage focused funds are in the state and in Columbus. What needs to pile on top of so those are kind of the basics, right? You need really smart people and you need some capital to get things started and moving. What else needs to come in beyond just maybe an attitude adjustment or a culture that suggests more things can grow and really explode here?
Well, I think what's going to happen, you look at Indianapolis, for example, they had a company called ExactTarget. ExactTarget was created by a guy named Scott Dorsey, growing very rapidly. It was bought by Salesforce for $3 billion. The minute a company has grown and is bought, all of a sudden, 50, 60, 70 companies have now been created from ExactTarget.
Because they've seen the win.
They've seen the win, they've seen all that, okay? We need to see one of those here, whether that's Cover My Meds, or it's one of our companies, or it's somebody. We need to have another very large company grow very rapidly, because people forget, Apple Computer was basically populated with folks from National Semiconductor. Folks left Apple Computer and created a whole bunch of other companies. I mean, Facebook was basically, Sheryl Sandberg came from Google. A lot of the Google people came from Facebook. A lot of the Google people came from Yahoo. A lot of Yahoo people came from eBay. I mean, that's just the way it goes, right? And so what we need to do is we need to start creating that, virtuous cycle where, we see these companies growing every 3, 4, 5 years. And that's the magic of Silicon Valley, if you think about it. is about every 5 years they create a company worth $100 billion. And that's pretty amazing. And that doesn't include all the other ones. And so what we need to do is we need to have, the Cardinal Health and gets this. I mean, quite frankly, we've had some of that here. A lot of that out of L Brands, with Abercrombie & Fitch, with Express, with Alliance Data, and then of course, what Cardinal Health has done. But we need to accelerate that.
Right, and so it's not just having those examples, but seeing the dynamics happen, right? You need to see something get created, and in not just one career or one lifetime, but in one decade, which is ExactTarget's story. I mean, in a decade, they created a $3 billion company in Indianapolis, right? That's something that had never existed there before.
Well, what I'm really excited about is I'm hoping, and I don't know which company it's going to be or how it's going to be done, but I think in the next 5 years we'll be sitting here and a company of 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 people will be created here in Columbus. Whether that company exists today or it will exist, in the future. But that's one thing you see. I mean, when I funded LinkedIn in 2003, it was 8 people. Okay, now they have 10,000 people. I don't know what they are. I mean, it's a huge company, and not that long, 13 years later. And so that's what we need. We need to see that happening, and people will then take the more risks. They'll see the big goal at the end.
Another interesting theme you hit on was the average age of a founder in a Sequoia investment, what drives doing today. Lots of young founders. We were all together for our portfolio CEO summit a week or so ago, and the crowds, I mean, the average age is about 30.
Right.
What is the power of the 20-something beyond just, I don't have a mortgage, so I can afford to take risk, but what else should we be encouraging about letting young people really drive the discussion in technology and entrepreneurship?
Well, the key thing I think is that young people and 20-somethings don't need adult supervision. You just don't need it.
They don't need their Eric Schmidt.
No, what they need is they need people to help them see around the corner. But at the end of the day, as you know, whether it's Ned and Chris or myself, we try to help you see around the corner. But at the end of the day, it's your company. You're running it, and you got to make mistakes just like we got to make mistakes. And so what we need is business advisors, that don't tell the entrepreneur what to do, because what they did, what I did 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years, doesn't work. What works today is what works today. And I think the 20-something knows what works today because they're living it and breathing it. I hate to say it, that once we're over, I'm 50, I'll be 55 this month. Once you get 35-ish or older, it's really hard to reinvent yourself. You're gone. You're gone. You're useless. You're going to be there soon, Alex.
That's true. I do think it is remarkable when we're talking about building big companies. My co-founders and I were all 27 or 28. We kind of take a step back pretty often and say, this is incredible. We've got great advisors who have been around the block, who do know things, who have seen great things be built and know how to bring that experience to the table. But we're constantly amazed by having a staff of 24, 25 people, and we're the people responsible for that and building that every day and having no prior experience doing it. And so for us, it's surreal, but we also recognize at some level the importance of what we think the 21st century economy is about, which is a lot of people who look like us taking these types of risks and building companies that either last a little bit of time or potentially into perpetuity.
Yeah, I mean, I think the key thing is all great companies are started with little insights, as I mentioned before. I mean, your insight was you thought dental insurance is a very antiquated business, hasn't really changed for 20, 30 years, and you come up with the idea of the connected toothbrush that can better predict, how someone does their teeth care, then you can price dental insurance better. There's a lot. I mean, who would have thought that? It started 6 years ago. There'd be a taxi hailing app worth $50 billion. Doing a couple $1 billion a month in revenue called Uber.
Right.
Okay? Trevor, he basically started the company because he wanted to show off to his friends that he could get a limousine.
Right.
And that's all it was about.
It really was you were kind of talking about that earlier, that the innocent beginnings of many of these big things. Uber started as a joke. It was a way to look rich when you weren't.
Exactly. It was like, it's not what you own, it's what people think you own.
Right, sure. Yeah, but I mean, it's amazing.
Think about that one for a while, folks. Not what you own. Because actually, I started a company on that. This is 1980, when was this? 1987. I started a company called FAUX, F-A-U-X, Systems, FAUX Systems. We created the cellular phony. It was a fake cellular telephone. All the status without the static. We had some great
How did
ones.
that not take off, man?
No, we sold 100,000 of them. We were on NBC Nightly News.
That is awesome.
You know the place where we sold the most cellular phonies?
Silicon Valley.
Los Angeles.
LA.
It's all about, which is, it's all about perception, not reality.
That's why the 3 Series is so popular.
Exactly.
All right, so just to kind of wrap up, let's talk about Drive Capital. What's next for Drive, and when you're looking at the next big investment, where's it going to come from? How's it going to happen?
Well, I think the key thing, we do need more capital here. And we're very fortunate to have done what we've been able to do. But quite frankly, people always ask me, do you want more competitors? Do you need more? We need more venture capital here. So we work a ton with Rich Langdale at NCT, where the guys
Venture Ohio.
Venture Ohio, and what we're doing with Venture Ohio. I'm the chair of Venture Ohio right now. I would love to have 3, 4, 5 more funds, $100 million, $200 million funds, because people forget, in Silicon Valley on 3000 Sand Hill Road, where I worked at Sequoia, I could throw a rock and find about $20 billion. Okay? Literally, maybe it would be a 9-iron. But,
and importantly, those $20 billion syndicate routinely.
They're always going back, because what's right for us, or what's not right for us may be right for the next person, maybe right for the next person. So we need to build that. So, what we're trying to do at Venture Ohio really is, how do we tell the world of what's going on in Ohio so that we can attract more VC funds? We need more venture capital here. 51% of the venture capital in the United States is spent in the 3 area codes of the peninsula in San Francisco. It's the whole Midwest. By the way, the Midwest is the 5th largest country in the world. It's bigger than Brazil. It's bigger than Russia. It's bigger than India. And it has less than 6% total. That's Pittsburgh to Kansas City to Minneapolis and back has less than 6% of all venture capital in the United States, which is ridiculous. We need to attract as many people here. Because quite frankly, funds in Pittsburgh will invest in Ohio. Funds in Detroit will invest in Ohio. Funds in Indianapolis will invest in Ohio, and vice versa. Ohio will invest in, like we have. So we need to tell the story. That's why, we just got to get out there and tell everyone all the great things that are happening here.
Awesome. Well, thank you for being here. Thanks for your talk, and thanks to the Chamber for having us.
Thank you very much, folks. Thank you.
Okay, so that was a great conversation and a great insightful discussion. We've enjoyed having the opportunity for Mark to share his unique experiences and his vision for Central Ohio and beyond. Thank you both guys for joining us today and sharing why you think Columbus is such a great place to do business and to root your business. To our members and guests, remember, the Columbus Chamber is here to help you every step along the way. Whether it's making meaningful connections or offering business support. Connect your team, engage with our chamber. We're here to help you succeed. Thank you all for joining us this morning. Have a great day and a very successful 2016.